onto the stage.
What's going on, everybody? Just for fun, just so I know who I'm talking to. English okay for somebody? Someone? How many people? Okay, thanks. I really appreciate going to these conferences. We live in Hong Kong mainly and have an office in Guangzhou, so we go back and forth quite often, and I love speaking to people. It's not my native language. It forces me to slow down. So please raise your hand at any time if I'm going too fast, okay? Thanks, appreciate it. So, for fun, who here, if I say the Internet of Things, who here knows exactly what I'm talking about? Raise your hands. Wait for the translation to come in. A few. Okay, so I'm not going to talk that much about technology today. I'm sure you've heard a lot over the first 3 or 4 hours. I'm going to zoom out and we're going to talk about why this matters in the first place. But first, who in the hell am I, right? Why am I here? So if you haven't seen me online, this is my OA account on WeChat. I lived in Silicon Valley for 10 years. I worked at Apple for 6 years. I built companies that we've lost. I built companies that we've sold. I currently have over 40 different equity positions in tech companies around the world. I'm a KOL for Huawei, Insta360, some other really awesome Chinese brands. And the reason I'm telling you all that is I live, eat, and breathe IoT every single day. I believe that IoT is going to change the way that we fundamentally live as humans on Earth. The most important thing you need to know, though, is about my business, which is Brink. This is something I teach all my investors for fun. Before, right this second, raise a hand, who has heard of Brink? All right, we have a lot of work to do in Shenzhen, fantastic. So this is important because we saw an opportunity about 3.5 years ago when IoT and hardware was becoming easier than ever before. And we realized that so many people had amazing ideas, ways that we can solve the world's problems. But they were having a challenge actually successfully building these companies. So we built Brink as a life cycle program, whether you're early and have an idea and you just need help and get educated, to an accelerator program, to our studio in China, where we actually help you manufacture. We're supporting the entire life cycle. So if any of you are interested in IoT, please see me after. I'm going to talk about your role after this presentation, but I'd love to see how we can work together. This is something that's really, really near and dear to our hearts. Now, what we're not saying here is how many devices we sell. I don't give a shit. How much money have we fundraised? I also don't care. The whole point of my business and what we do every day is we want to support all of you, anyone that's unlocking the world's data, because we want to improve our lives. I don't care about the devices. I don't care about the tech. I know I'm at a Bluetooth conference. I got that. I know. So I'm going to talk just like 2 seconds about Bluetooth later. I want to give you a new way of thinking about all the work you do. We call it the IoT value equation. This is how we think about all the work we do every day, why we wake up every single morning and help build IoT companies. This can apply to everything you do in your life when it comes to technology. So we're going to do some math. You guys ready? I know you probably want like lunch and tea and coffee. Well, a little bit of math. I'll give you 1 minute of math, okay? Start here. Every single day, there are X people that deal with a problem. Make up anything you want. We'll then multiply that many people by Y, or the loss. And that can be anything. It could be lives, it could be money. So it's an X times Y dollar problem. And if we can solve that by unlocking the world's data, we can save Z in terms of time, money, lives. This is why we do what we do. However many billions of devices there are going to be connected in the world doesn't matter unless we're focusing on the why. So let's bring this to home. Autonomous driving. Who here, if they had all the money in the world, would have a car that drives themselves right now? If it was free, would you have an autonomous car? Raise your hands. Not that many people? Interesting. I want to talk to you afterwards. I want to know why not. Because driving in the traffic in Shenzhen sucks. So I want to know why you like driving. So let's break this down in China. 500 people die every day in China because of car accidents. Let's make up a number. What do you think a human life is worth? I'm just saying 500,000 US dollars. How much output do they put into the world? So if you multiply 500,000 times 365 days, first off, that's 182,000 people that die every year because of us humans driving cars. If you multiply that by 500,000, that's a $91 billion problem that we can solve in China alone. It's 182,000 people in China. Globally, 1.2 million people die because of car crashes every single year. Let's do palm oil, one of my investments. We have a company called Poladrone. Every year, palm oil is the #1 oil that we consume for food globally, as 15% is lost every single year for mismanagement. In Malaysia alone, that's a $2.25 billion loss. It doesn't seem like much in China standards, but for Malaysia, that's a lot of money. So in 3 years, Malaysia loses $7 billion. More importantly, look at the bottom. Palm oil is a devastating crop. It ruins forests, it extincts animals, it kills entire species because we want to eat food. What we do is we fly drones over these palm oil plantations in Indonesia and Malaysia, and we optimize. We end up getting more yield for the same space. Not only do we save money, but we slow down the need to grow the palm oil fields and kill more species. Let's go for Bluetooth. I got asked to give one Bluetooth example, so we're going to do diabetes. Another one of my investments in Bon Bhutan out of NYU. 200 people every day have their feet amputated in the United States because of diabetes. That's 73,000 people every year in the US lose their feet because they have diabetes. I know a lot of you understand it's 11% in China, last time I checked, of diabetes. It's a lot. It costs $70,000 for every one of those surgeries. That's $5 billion a year, but most importantly, 73,000 people have to go through a terrible surgery. They have to lose their productivity. There's a high correlation of depression. So what do? We have a carbon inlay that goes into the sole of your shoe. And when you stop balancing correctly, we alert you and your doctor and your loved ones because diabetic patients cannot feel their feet very well. They lose circulation. And through Bluetooth, we alert via your phone people that can help you before this happens. So what's your role? Those are just 3 examples. I have dozens of examples. And I want you to walk away with that equation. Because what's the point of all of this if you can't bring it back to why we're doing it? So I'm going to ask all of you what your role is. First off, who here is in a startup or a founder of a startup? Okay, you got like 5. Not that many. Let's talk to you guys first. So startups, the guys that raise their hand, the guys and girls, you guys have the opportunity. Because you're at a Bluetooth conference, I'm going to assume that you have some aspect of hardware or a physical object as part of your company. But if you don't, I encourage all of you to understand how easy it is to start learning about IoT, how easy it is to use Arduino and Raspberry Pi and all the great platforms you have in China to start unlocking information in your world. This is what I usually like to say, although many of you did not raise your hands. This is where I love to say, anyone here, just for fun, because I was from Silicon Valley, Anyone here think that Silicon Valley is cool? Raise your hands. Oh, not that many. This is different. Things are changing, Chad. Things are changing. So, this is important, because the way we think of Silicon Valley run startups is bullshit. The way that we do business in China, the reason I love this so much, is you guys are willing to prototype and do something here right now. You can do this with IoT. You can unlock data using a basic Bluetooth module and a sensor. Humidity, pressure, temperature, very simple. If you are not using hardware in your solutions as a startup, I highly, highly encourage you to. A, it's easy. B, it unlocks new data that no one else in the world has. I saw presentations earlier talking about data. The long game for everyone in this room is about data. And all of us that love hardware, we're the ones that are mining the gold. We are the ones that are unlocking all that value. Anyone here like AI or big data? Raise your hands, machine learning. Ooh, okay, now I got more of you, perfect. So all of you, guess what? Without us, the hardware guys, you don't have any data. You add no value without hardware people. We have to unlock the data for you. Now, we need each other, it's fair enough, we need both of us. But the point is, you need hardware to get the information out of the world, so don't avoid this. Next one, corporations. Who works for a corporation right now? That can't be possible. I'm going to do this one more time. How about this? Who is an entrepreneur? Who's an entrepreneur in their corporation? Raise your hands. Anyone? Okay, a couple. I'm going to ask this one more time. Who works at a company that you don't own yourself? Raise your hands. All right, I'm getting some of you. The translation's not working, or you're not helping me out here. So, corporates, any of you that raise your hand, I don't care what role you play. If you're in a corporation, one thing you must know. Your size is not going to defend you over the long term. I know China's big, I know the corporations are massive. It won't matter if your competition is working with IoT and unlocking data. Whoever has the data is going to win. So whatever corporation you work in, whatever division, no matter your title, make sure that someone very close to you, your boss, someone is thinking about IoT. Because if they're not unlocking data, your competitor definitely is. And if they have the data and you don't, you will lose. There is no in-between, it's just a matter of time. What about government people? Anyone from the government here? Oh, not gonna raise your hand even if I asked. Okay, fair enough. So, government, if anyone knows anyone in the government, you're doing a pretty fantastic job in Shenzhen, but encourage them to invest in these small startups. Invest in hardware innovation. This is the future. And I think a lot of countries don't see what I believe you guys in China, specifically Shenzhen, you guys are the role model. You are the epicenter of the universe when it comes to hardware and IoT innovation. So the more that you can be communicating out, the better for the world too. We all can help improve the world by unlocking the data. For fun, investors, anyone's an investor here? Okay, so everyone rush Chad afterwards, got it? So if you have ideas. So investors, also super critical. I don't have to tell Chad, he knows. But if you are not investing in IoT, I'm gonna give you one quick data point. Who has a cell phone? Actually, better yet, iPhone. Raise your hands for iPhone only. Cool. The iPhone, I worked at Apple 6 years, so I have a little prejudice. The iPhone has made the world's most valuable company. That single device. IoT, as its aggregate opportunity, is going to make the iPhone look like zero. The most valuable company in the entire world will look tiny in comparison to how much money is going to be made by unlocking the world's data and then connecting the physical world. It will be 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 times more money and opportunity is going to happen because we unlock the physical world's data. So if you're an investor, you cannot avoid this opportunity. So what now? That was a lot. Very simple. I would love to connect because we care so much about this. And I want to make sure that that larger IoT equation, the value equation, is what you walk away with. I know we're at a tech conference. There's lots of amazing technology and gadgets in the other room. But you have to come back to understanding the why we do this every single day. That equation will help you no matter what you do. And myself and my company, we are absolutely here to help. That's all we want to do. So if there's any questions you have or anything that we can do to support you, please just let me know. I thank you guys so much for having me. I'll see you guys later. Thanks.
OK， 我们谢谢 Mr. McLaughlin 的精彩演讲。那我们今天上午的主题演讲系列到这边。